This is the Class 50 from Heljan with the revised wiring that Heljan tell us is NMRA to NMRA standards, but the colours are correct, but it's actually been wired up back to front. The simplest way I found to identify which wires go to which LEDs is to use a 9-volt battery, and in this instance what I do is whichever one goes to the positive, I just put a little knot in that wire, and then obviously the other one is a negative, so this pair here actually go to the red light. The white and blue in this instance go to the cab lights and the front marker lights as shown on the other end, and obviously the yellow and the blue in this instance, they go to the front single light unit. And again, as I say, I put a little knot in each one, so you can see here that Heljan have wired it completely back to front. The blues are actually the negative switch wires, and all of these with the knotting will go to the positive terminals on the decoder. This side's wired, this side's still to be done, but I can use the positive on this side because these wires are a little bit short. I may have to extend the wiring to get to the functions on this side, but that's a straightforward job. The issue with the Class 50 is that when the marker lights are switched on, the cab lights come on as well. And the marker lights are actually fed from the centre LED, and the cab lights are actually on two LEDs on the sides, which are, well, they act like a down light. So there's actually 3 LEDs on that board. So the first job we need to do is remove this cover here that covers the 2 LEDs that act as the cab light downlighters. And it's a simple case of using a small screwdriver and just inserting it behind the cab and levering up. And on this one, I don't think there was any glue, it just sort of clips into place and it just pops off. A little bit of pressure. And this now reveals the 2 LEDs. It's difficult to see here. On the outside edges, there's one there, and there's one there. 2 wires, blue and white, wired the wrong way around. The blue should be the positive, but in this case it's going to be a negative. There's a closer look of the wiring. You can clearly see here that the white goes to the positive and the blue is shown as negative, which the NMRA standards, that's actually wired back to front. The bit we're interested in though is just behind this little rubber shroud. So if we just lever this up a little bit, it's sort of stuck in place. You can see on the printed circuit board the blue wire feeds across to the two resistors, which then go to these two LEDs. But there's actually a T-junction there just after that. I think it's 7. That goes to the resistor that feeds the marker lights. So it's simply a case of running a blade down the circuit board to cut off that wire that runs to this resistor. So 2 firm swipes of the blade across that line will actually cut that wire off, and then this blue and white wire then only feed the 2 outer LEDs, which will then obviously be wired back to the decoder as the cab light. So once you've cut through that wire, which you can probably just about make that out there, just above the 7, you can see there's a break in the printed circuit board. If you then solder a wire to that side of the resistor where that wire used to go, and then take that wire back to your chosen decoder and wire that in as the marker lights on one of the auxiliaries, you then have a situation where we can now turn off the marker lights. Now operate independently. We can also turn the cab lights off. We can put marker lights on its own. And in this instance, we can actually wire everything separately. So the red marker lights are at the moment wired on the light function, the F0, and these again obviously can be turned off separately. So this is now wired so that every individual light can be switched on separately, giving you full control over the whole of the lighting. So to recap, what you're looking for is that small line going across from the blue cable here, going across to the LED, to the resistor, sorry. And you can actually just about see where I've scored that wire with the knife to separate it. Then that wire went to, it's difficult to do, that wire then went to the bottom part of that resistor. So I've soldered a small wire on and then taken that back to the decoder as a switch wire for that LED, which actually lights up the front marker lights. The positive is actually this, it's wired back into the white wire, which is incorrect, but it utilises the all 3 of these LEDs utilise that one white wire as the positive back to the decoder. Now this wire now can obviously be fed down the back, and it will just about go through. It can be just tacked in with some hot glue or something just to hide it.